Welcome to the Avaya ACE Web Services Trainer video guide, Part 5, Monitoring User Presence. This part of the video guide uses the Avaya ACE Web Services Trainer to demonstrate how client applications can get information about the current presence status of users at their endpoint devices and monitor changes to users' presence status by invoking Avaya ACE Presence Web Services operations. I'll demonstrate each of the operations supported by the Presence Web Service and listed here. In presence terminology, the combination of user and device for which presence status information is required is known as a presentity, and an endpoint that monitors the presentity is known as a watcher. To be able to monitor a particular presentity or set of presentities, a client application must first submit a subscribe presence request on behalf of the watcher. In some implementations of presence, users can decide whether they wish to accept or reject subscription requests from particular watchers, but in the Avaya ACE implementation, all subscription requests are automatically approved. The client application can then either invoke the getUserPresence operation to get a snapshot of the presentity's current presence status, or start presence notification so that it automatically is notified whenever the presentity's presence status changes. To be able to receive presence notifications, the client must start a listener that implements the status change operation. When the trainer is launched, it automatically starts this listener at the IP address configured in the Event Listener Settings dialog as shown. This is the same location where the core status notification listeners are started as described in Part 3. Finally, when the client no longer wishes to be notified of a presentity's presence status changes, it invokes the end presence notification operation. The controls that exercise the Avaya ACE Presence Web Service operations are located under the Presence tab. The first step is to specify the address of the watcher that wants to access the presentity's presence status information. In the Avaya ACE implementation of Presence, it doesn't really matter what address you enter here. The subscription request will automatically be accepted, and the client application will be able to get presence status information with which it can do whatever it wants. Think of the address entered in this field as acting as the watcher on behalf of the client for this subscription. In this case, I'm going to supply the tel format URI of extension 81 as the watcher. Next, I enter the address of the presentity whose presence status the watcher wants to monitor. In this case, I want to subscribe to monitor the presence of the user at extension 82. Note that, although the trainer only allows me to specify one presentity for the subscription, the web service permits multiple presentities per subscription. Also notice that because the Presence Web Service is supported by the TR87 service provider but not by the SIP service provider, the presentity address must be supplied in tel format. Finally, I click Subscribe Presence. Looking at the SOAP messages, you can see that the trainer submitted a subscribe presence request, passing in the address of the watcher, the address of the presentity, an empty reference parameter, and an empty application parameter. The web service returned an empty subscribe presence response message indicating that the request was successful. Once the subscription is approved, the client can invoke the getUserPresence operation on behalf of the watcher to poll for and obtain a snapshot of the presentity's current presence status. To demonstrate, I ensure the subscribed watcher and presentity addresses are populated. These have been carried forward from the subscription request, so I don't need to change them, and then I click Get User Presence. Looking at the SOAP messages, you can see that the trainer submitted the request passing in the watcher and presentity addresses. The web service returned a getUserPresence response encapsulating the presence status information. The full set of parameters returned in the response are described in the Avaya ACE Web Services guide. Those of most interest include the presentity's current activity status on the device, which can be activity none, available, on the phone, or do not disturb. In this case, the user at extension 82 is currently available. The response also includes the status of the device itself, which can be on, off or busy. In this case, the device at extension 82 is registered and is able to take calls, but is not currently connected in a call, so its status is on. Alternatively, client applications can invoke the Start Presence Notification operation to begin automatically receiving notifications on behalf of the watcher whenever the status of the presentity changes. Each start notification request is identified by a unique correlator value, so the first step in this demonstration is to click Generate Correlator to generate a new one. I then enter the addresses of the previously subscribed watcher and presentity and click Start Presence Notification. The trainer submits a Start Presence Notification request, passing in various preference parameters that include the watcher and presentity addresses and a populated reference that includes the correlator. The web service returns an empty Start Presence Notification response. In addition, the web service sends a status changed notification to the Presence Notification listener on the trainer. The web service sends the notification because the trainer defaults the Check Immediate parameter in the Start Notification request to true. The notification contains similar presence information to that we saw earlier in the Get Presence Information response. To show that Presence Notification is working, I'll initiate a call from extension 81 and answer it at extension 82. You can see that the web service automatically sent a status change notification showing that the presenters' activity status is now on the phone and that the device status is busy. To stop receiving presence notifications from the presentity, the client invokes the End Presence Notification operation, passing in the correlator associated with the original Start Presence Notification request. In this case, the required correlator is already populated, so I just click End Presence Notification. Here you can see the request sent by the trainer and the empty End Notification response returned by the web service, indicating that the request was successful. That ends part 5 of this video guide, which demonstrated how client applications can use the Avaya ACE Presence web service to monitor user presence status. Next, watch part 6, which uses the trainer to demonstrate how client applications can inject media into active calls using the Audio Call web service.